Hello everyone, it's Chuck Terry here again with Don at Duckos Framing. Hi Don.
Hey there.
How you doing?
Good, good.
Good. Hey, we're going to show you guys how to outline a jersey with CorelDraw. We have taken a picture of the jersey and we are going to cut and insert and show you how to process that through the CorelDraw system, and then move it over. We'll switch to a video and show you us cutting the actual insert. So first and foremost, I need to bring in my image. Bear with me for just one moment. I just emailed it in. I took the image on my phone. So save as, and I'll just put it into my folder here. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to import this image that was taken with the iPhone into the Corel software. So you're going to click on File and Import, and then you need to go to your source here, 2019, and here's my image. I'm just going to center that into the mat, and for all you cowboy fans, this one's for you. What we've done is we've taken the picture of the jersey with it out. The arms aren't folded in or anything because I want to be able to cut the insert around the sleeves properly. So I'm going to work with the arms in this picture laying out first. So what I typically like to do is go in and change the view so I can see the drawing a little bit better than with the colors turned off. So again, that's view and wireframe. Okay. Now I can zoom in and I can see a little bit more of where I need to go. I can see the seams of the arm, kind of the approach that I need to take to get to that point. So in all reality, I'm just going to start drawing and tracing around this. I like to use the line, the 2-point line and the 3-point curves. So I'm going to bounce between those two options here on this design. So we'll start with the line. You can really start anywhere you want on the drawing. I prefer to start somewhere around the end, and I'm just going to draw a line. I'm going to hold the control key down, and what that does is it forces the line to be straight. So I'm going to get a straight across shot here, and then you can see that if I zoom in, I have these nodes that indicate the drawing. So I want to continue to the drawing further up. So I'm going to hover my mouse over the top. As you can see the cursor, it looks like a line. And that's the tool that it's going to use. But when I put my mouse over the top of where the end point of the line is, you can see that there is a little down arrow and it says node. That indicates that this is going to connect to that path and it will ultimately be closed. So I'm going to click here, and I like to draw habit-wise, clockwise. There's no reason why you can't go counterclockwise with the drawing. The software, you can adjust it to go clockwise or counterclockwise. So just a habit that I've been into is always to do clockwise. So I'm going to pick a point here. I've got the control key held down, so I'm going to get a vertical line there, and then I'm going to let go, and now my next portion is going to be the jersey sleeve. So as you can see, the seam right here kind of comes up and in, and of course I don't want it to be too tight, so I'm going to give myself a little bit of freedom there to maneuver for when I want to fold the arms. So now I need to make sure that I go to the curve. Now, as you can tell, I can still see there's a little node here on the line that I drew. That indicates it's selected. So when I go to change to a different tool, 3-point curve, it's going to give me the 3-point curve icon, and then when I hover over the object, I can see that I get that little down arrow, and it's going to close that point to the curve. Okay, so now I'm just going to drag my line up, try to fit my arc as close as I can, just see where I'm at with it. If I need to go back and make a little change or edit that, I can do so. I'm just going to kind of bend that in a little bit and click to the center point to give me a nice little curve around that arm. Now I'm going to zoom in up here. You can kind of see it's not really flat, but I am going to put just a straight line in there, give it a nice flat surface for it to lay against and push into. I'm just going to go to my 2-point line, bring it over, and then get close to the collar and let go. Now I've got my line in there. So now I'm going to go back to my curve. Zoom out a little. Let's go to 3-point curve. Bring this guy over here. Hold the control key. And then holding the control key gives me a symmetrical shape, so I know that that's going to be good and even. So I'll let go there. And then I can do the same thing, follow this around, come over to here. So we'll bring this guy over here, zoom in. Let's take a 2-point line, go into the curve, get my closed down arrow indicating that it's going to be closed onto that. Come over here to the sleeve, and yeah, it's off a little bit, but that's okay. It's not completely straight, but we'll get the majority of what we need from the shape. So I'll let go. There's my curve, or my straight line. Now I'm going to work into my curve. So back to an arc, 3-point curve, down arrow, click, bring it down here. And again, if I need to go back and make a change and edit that, I can. I'm just going to bring that up. Look at that a little bit. And set the curve. Okay. Now I can come straight down with a line. And go to my endpoint. Now you can see that it's not straight up and down. And that's because this side of the jersey was not, I didn't set the curve at the exact same point as I did on the other side. Well, we can again go back and fix that. So I'm just going to close that out. And now the outline of the jersey is set. I'm going to move the picture out of the way, or the clip, the drawing. Okay. Now there's a little trick that you can do with CorelDraw. You can go out to their rulers off to the side here. You can click and drag a ruler in, snap it to a point that you want to go to, and then if I want, I can take this object right here, double click on it, get a little arrow or a control point, and I can move it out and snap it to the node. Okay, so now that's just as straight as the other side. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that line. We don't need it any longer. Okay, now the last step that we're going to do is we got to size it. So I'm going to select the object, and it's going to give me a width and a height of what the object is, how big it is. Okay, so what I want to do is pre-measure the jersey. I take the width and the height of it and measure it all up, and I ended up having a 25 3/4 width. Pardon me, excuse me for 1 second. I forgot to do something. I gotta uncheck the block ratios. So we're gonna go 25 3/4 by 35. Okay. So now that's gonna give me my shape. I want to save that file as a CorelDraw file so that if I need to edit it further down the road or come back to it, I don't have to start all over. So File, Save As, we'll put it into the same folder as before, and call it D Jersey. Okay, save that as a CorelDraw file. Now I want to export it, so I'm going to go File, Export, and again I need to put it into the same folder, or I can put it into the Valiani folder if I wanted to. Actually, let's do that. Let's put it in the Valiani folder so you don't have to go looking for it. So this PC, C drive, Valiani, VStudio, PLT library, and we're going to go new folder, 2019, and I'm saving it as a plotter file, HPGL plotter file. I'm going to click export, and you want to make sure you leave all this stuff scale, not to fit, nothing changes here. Go to Advanced tab, make sure you have the curve resolution set low, and then click OK. And the file's now been sent to the Create software. So I'm going to open up, or sent into the VStudio software. So I'm going to open up Create, and we'll File, New, File, oops, excuse me. Let's go 32 by 40 for frame size. And then I'm going to go into Openings, Insert Clip Art, and go to my 2019. And there's my outline of my jersey, and import that in. Now the last step that I need to take is I need to change the head type. Right now it's set to the 40-degree green. I want to change it to the 90 gray. Okay, and then I can go in and we'll do a video of the machine actually cutting this shape out. Hi everybody, Chuck Terry again here. Don at Duckles Custom Framing. We're going to show you the actual cut path of the video of the jersey. Don's holding the camera for me so I can get all this put in. I'll show you how we're going to do that. So first and foremost, we've moved the file from my computer to a thumb drive so that we can put it onto the computer here. And to transfer the file, we simply just need to go into Explorer folder, go into the device, and here's my jersey. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to click on copy. Then I'm going to go to this PC. I want to go to the C drive, go into the Valiani folder, VStudio, PLT library, and then I just created a new folder called 2019 just so it was quick and easy so we could get to the file real quick. So I'm going to open up that, and then I just simply paste the file into the folder, and then it will be accessible through the clip art. So again, it's this PC, C drive, Valiani, VStudio, PLT library, and then if you want to create your own subfolder, you can do so as well. We'll go close that out. We've got the Create software opened up right now. I'm just going to go ahead and put in my overall size of the material, which is going to be 32 by 40. And I'm going to go to the Openings tab, Insert Clip Art, And then from there, you can see my 2019 folder. So I click on that, and there's my jersey. So I'm going to click open. And now it brought it in again. The default on this machine is the 40-degree green head. I don't want to cut it with that. I want to cut it with the 90. So I'm going to open up the cutting head options, select the gray 90, and then I'm going to send to cut. Now, once I'm in the cut window, I can see, you know, the red path it's going to be cutting, and then the type of material that I'm going to have. So I'm going to click on my material database here, and you can see that I have the 1/8 inch foam core selected. Okay. Continue on with the process here. So again, just to reiterate, we're going to be using 1/8 inch foam core. So I'm going to click on my material database. You can see the list of materials that I have in here. I have my 1/8 inch foam core selected. I'll select that and click OK, and it's ready to go. So now I need to hit the cut button. It's telling me to load material, so I'll go ahead and load in the material. And then hit start, and it's telling me to set the gray cutting head. So let's double check, make sure the gray cutting head is on, and it is nice and tight and secure. Okay, so we'll lock that down, make sure the cutting head is in position, and then it's telling me to set the dial to 31, which is where it's at. So now we'll go ahead and hit start and let the machine cut the jersey insert. Like butter. Now we have our jersey insert cut, and we can see how it needs to fit onto how it fits in the jersey. Now we'll continue on with another video, but I wanted to point out that I intentionally did not make the sleeves even. So if you draw a straight line across there, you can see that they're not even. This curve is slightly different than this curve. Again, I intentionally did that, and you'll see in the next video how to correct that so that you do make it symmetrical. All right, this is a continuation of the outline that we did for the insert on the jersey. As I pointed out in the earlier video, you could see that the sides of the arms are not equal and even, and I did do that intentionally just so I could come back and show you guys how I would actually do this the proper way. This is going to be a little bit of how to edit an object and be able to close the objects back together again. So the thing that I want to be able to do is take either side and mirror it to the other side and then close the objects back together. I really like the side over here, the look of it, a lot more than the one over here. So I'm just going to double click on the object here. I'm going to get it to the point where I can see the nodes, and then I can just simply click, put a little asterisk on there. One click is all it takes, and then hit the delete key, and now that object is gone. Now I can start double clicking and removing different portions of the object. And so now I'm going to go ahead and keep this line all the way at its full length. I'm going to keep this up here. However, I will have overlapping objects, and I will need to get rid of those. It's not an issue. So now what I want to do is go back to selection of the object. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go to copy, paste, and then mirror horizontally. And you can see that There's a little bit of an overlap over here. The circle wasn't quite symmetrical. So we'll go ahead and take care of that as well. And you can see that when I double click on this, I'm only getting a portion of the objects, and the other section is not being selected, so they're not tied together. The fact that I've got that selected right here, I'm just going to go ahead and double click on this point here to delete it and remove it. So I have both my sides looking equal and the same. I'm going to zoom in, make sure my corner is touching and it's going to be closed. Looks okay. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back out, zoom back in, and then I'm going to probably draw a whole new curve here. So come over here to my tools, choose my 3-point curve. I'm going to select a point to start and a point to end. Hold the control key down so I get a symmetrical curve. I'm going to just bring it down somewhere close. Again, this is the insert, so it doesn't have to be real accurate. Okay, so then I'll go ahead and get rid of the half circles here. Let's choose this one. Oops, double click on that. Okay, so that curve's gone. Come down to here. That curve is gone. Now I'm going to come back to this one, double click on it. Oops, I actually added a node there, sorry. Double click. Okay, double click, delete, come down to this point, get rid of it. Okay, so now I've got a symmetrical shaped object. This half is not tied to the curve of the neck, nor is it tied to the right side of the jersey. So I need to close those objects together. So I'm going to come back up here to my pick tool, select all the objects. I'm going to go into objects and click combine. Okay, so once I've combined them, then the objects are still not going to be closed. So if I double click, you can see now I've got all the objects are combined, but I have these little arrows indicating the start and stops of each object. You can see that the curve is not tied to the slant on the shoulder. So what you do after you've got them combined and you're at this point double clicking, you can click on either one of the nodes, click it away, bring it back, drop it on to the node, and now it turns into a square. So that indicates that that has been closed. Come over to this one, do the same thing, drag it away, drop it back on, and it's closed. So I'm just going to go through the rest of the drawing, make sure that I've got all the objects closed together. So I can see down here that this one is not. I'll drag it away. I can let go. I can drag it back and then drop it, and now it's closed. Now, once it might be a little difficult to see, but that is an arrow, and all the other objects are squares. So when it's closed, you should be able to see everything with one arrow on the object. The other way you can tell if the object is closed is you can actually fill it with a color. So I'm going to come down here to my color palette, and I'm going to click on a color. Doesn't really matter what color, black is fine. Click OK. Click on the color, black, click OK. Might be doing something wrong here, pardon me for one second. Oh, I gotta have it selected like that. Okay. And actually, I'm in wireframe. My apologies. So let's go back down here to enhanced, and there we are. It's all filled in, so that indicates that it is closed. And again, if I want to go back and check to see just in the wireframe mode, I'm going to go view, wireframe, and I can see that it's going to work out for me. So again, this is all symmetrical now. If I'm content with it, I can go ahead and export the file, save the file as a CorelDraw, save, and then file export. Export it as a PLT again, export, make sure my settings are correct, go to advanced, make sure that's correct, and click OK. And the object's ready to be cut again. If you have any questions and you want to email me, my email is cterry@crescentcardboard.com. Thank you. All right, now that we've got the insert of the body for the jersey completed, I'm gonna do the sleeves. Got it folded the way that I want. Again, I'm in wireframe mode here, so I can see a little bit better where I'm gonna be tracing the outline of the sleeve. So view, wireframe, and then I'm gonna just use my same old tools, the curve and the 2-point line, to make this shape here. So we're going to go 2-point line. I'm going to start here in the top part of the sleeve, bring my 2-point line down, get it close to where I want, and then move to the next line. Make sure I've got that under that downward arrow. Bring it over and let go there. Now I've got a little bit of a curve here. I definitely don't want to have any of the foam core sticking out the end there, so I'm going to bring that to a curve. Bring that over here. Adjust the curved part of the arc, and then let's use the curve here as well. A down arrow, come up to my starting point. Put just a little curve on that, and now that object's been completed, so I can move the picture out of the way. And I pre-measured the height of the sleeve, and it was 12 inches. I want to keep it symmetrical, so I'm going to click lock ratio, and we're going to go 12 inches high. Okay, so now I can save that file. Save it as a CorelDraw, and then export the file out to PLT, export. All my settings should be still the same. Click OK. Now the file is ready to be cut on the valley out.